This is Mad Movie Mark of the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1980s Australian war movie Breaker Morant.
Quite a Renaissance figure.
I dare say, if everything goes well, he could come and recite for us one night.
Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be happy to come and do whatever I can. I'm reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm giving them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started in the 1920 silent movie era, and now I'm at 1980 with Breaker Morant. This movie has a 100% fresh rating from the critics and a 91% fresh rating from the audience. It stars Edward Woodward as Harry Breaker Morant, John Waters as Captain Alfred Taylor, Byron Brown as Captain Peter Hancock, and Jack Thompson as Major J.F. Thomas. Now, this is one of the very few movies I've seen out of Australia. I didn't even realize that until I started thinking about it and looking at what movies I've seen, and there's very few. This movie is kind of like Paths of Glory in that it is about a group of people who are being charged for a military crime, and they're basically using the Nuremberg defense, which is we were just following orders. I won't say that I like this movie as much as Paths of Glory, though I like this movie a lot. Paths of Glory is in my top 10 of all time, but this movie is very good too. I will say I suffered a little bit from this movie not knowing anything about the Boer War, which what this movie is about. Sometimes I found it a little hard to follow what exactly was going on, so I had to do a little bit of like Wikipedia research throughout the movie to kind of like see what was going on. But this movie is really good, and I would say it is very good because of the acting. Specifically, Jack Thompson, who plays Major J.F. Thomas, who is the lawyer in this movie for the three men who are on trial. Amazing. He does a lot. It's a lot of courtroom scenes where he's doing a lot of really fine speeches, kind of speech acting, and it's fantastic.
A conversation is stated to have taken place between Captain Hunt and Colonel Hamilton. Which conversation was relayed by Captain Hunt to Lieutenant Morant? Now, it really doesn't matter from whom Captain Hunt had his instructions. The fact is clear from the evidence that Captain Hunt did tell his subordinates, not once, but several times, that no prisoners were to be taken.
So essentially what I gathered this movie is about is there are three people who are Australian, but they're fighting for Europe in South Africa, and it's the Boer War, and they're fighting against this group called the Boers. So early on in the movie, one of Harry Breaker Morant. Now, his name is Harry Breaker Morant because he breaks horses. One of his friends is killed, Simon Hunt. He was given bad information about this group of people that they were tailing, and they go kind of all in to attack this hut, thinking that the people who are there aren't going to be able to defend themselves, but they end up getting slaughtered, and Simon Hunt ends up getting killed. So after he gets killed, Breaker Morant, he goes to find his body, and his body is kind of like mutilated, and he is devastated by this, and he kind of decides that he is going to take revenge for the death of his friend.
Just because you sign a bit of paper don't mean the war's over.
Well, Mr. Taylor, sir, so much for your damned intelligence report. 8 Boers exhausted, that's what you said. Horses with fever, you said. What do you say now?
I say avenge, Captain Hunt.
Now, they're on trial because they were said to have killed prisoners of war instead of taking them in custody and having a trial like they're supposed to. And 2 of them are also accused of murdering a Reverend Daniel Hess as well. So all 3 of them are charged with killing prisoners of war, but only 2 of them are charged with killing this gentleman named Daniel Hess. Now, their lawyer, who I mentioned earlier, Jack Thompson, who plays Major J.F. Thomas, he is very inexperienced at being a trial lawyer. In fact, he's only done wills and things like that, so he's never actually tried a case, apparently, which the movie starts out, you really feel for these three guys because the trial is the next day. He's only been given so much information that he has to absorb and understand in one day, and then he has to go to trial. So of course the three men are very concerned about this, that they're going in there with no ammunition, and they're going to just get slaughtered during this trial.
As a matter of interest, how many courts-martial have you done?
None.
None. Jesus, they're playing with a double-headed penny, aren't they?
Would you rather conduct your own defense?
But you have handled a lot of court cases back home, sir.
No.
But we find out during the trial that he may not understand kind of all the trial procedure things that are going on, but he's actually a very strong lawyer. He does a very good job, I believe, at representing these three men. Now, a large part of their case, like I said earlier, is held up by the fact that they were just following orders. One major thing in this movie is that these orders were kind of handed down by different people in the army, in their army, just verbally. They were told that, we don't take prisoners, this is a new kind of war. If you see certain people, then you just kill them, because in this war was a little bit different than other wars that were fought, because everyday people, they were dressed, people in the military on the opposite side, the Boers, were dressing up as everyday people, and they were, they weren't always dressed in military garb, and they were killing people. So it was kind of a shoot on sight type thing, is what they were told. Now, during the trial, of course, the other side brings up, well, if you were given specific orders where you were supposed to kill prisoners instead of bringing them in for a trial, then show us the proof, like show us where it's written down. And they said they weren't written down anywhere. They were just like orders that we were given verbally.
I object, sir. The Manual of Military Law states, persons captured under arms against British forces in the field shall be placed within the jurisdiction of the nearest provost marshal or garrison commander.
They were not the orders under which we operated.
Indeed. You saw a copy of Lord Kitchener's new orders?
No.
Sanctioning executions?
No. But they were common knowledge.
I told you they were verbal orders from Pretoria.
No one wrote anything down. We were just told that if we see certain people, we kill them. This is specifically a problem for the murder of a guy named Danny Visser. Now, when they went down to hunt the murderer of Simon Hunt, the friend of Harry Morant, they found a group of guys that they thought maybe did it. They kind of went in and killed a bunch of them. But there was one named Danny Visser who lived, and when they caught him, he was wearing Hunt's military jacket. And they just assumed, Harry Morant, just assumed that since he was wearing his jacket, that this was the person who killed Simon Hunt, and that without any type of trial, without bringing him in as a prisoner of war, they were just going to execute him on sight. And that was Harry Morant's basically judgment, is that we're going to kill him right now. Who wants to shoot him? So that's basically what they did.
Ask him his name.
What is your name?
Visser.
Tannies Visser.
You were at the farmhouse. You killed Captain Hunt, the British officer.
Hij zei hij had Engels officier dood.
Nee. Dit was niet ek nie.
He says no. He didn't kill him.
What do you mean you didn't kill him? You're wearing his bloody jacket. Blast you, you're wearing his jacket. What do you mean you didn't kill him? This man killed Captain Hunt. He will be executed immediately.
And the people, the other side, are saying, like, well, what kind of trial did he get? Was the trial in a courtroom like this? Or, like, who were his judges and executioners. And they basically said, like, we were, because these were the orders that we were given. So they're kind of making Breaker, Morant, and the other two people seem like they're just kind of renegades who are out for blood because their friend was murdered, and that they're just going against all the rules of war because it's a revenge type of thing. And they're arguing, no, that's not true. We were actually following verbal cues that we were given. Now they are able to bring in a couple of witnesses who confirmed that these were orders that we were given verbally, and that there was nothing written down. There's also a scene in the movie where they are said to have put prisoners in like a carriage of some sort and kind of put them out for bait to be killed by the Boers as well.
What was Lieutenant Hancock's reason for placing these carriages of prisoners in the front of trains?
Well, the Boers had been mining the lines and blowing up a lot of trains. He thought it might stop them.
And did it? Did it?
Well, yes, they...
Which is something they continue to do even after Hunt, even after Morant was no longer in the regiment or something. So that's basically what I got from the movie. There's also a reverend who is killed later on who they said this is part of the, we don't know who's against us because they dress up as different people. They dress up as everyday people. He could have been someone who was out to kill us. We don't know. So we just kind of shoot everyone on sight because it's war. And that's basically what you do in war. If you think someone is an enemy, you shoot them. So that's basically what they were doing. To be perfectly honest, if I'm going to give my opinion of whether I think they were guilty or not, I think that in war, you are given a little bit more leeway as to who you kill and who you don't. Especially nowadays, I mean, in war today, I mean, if you look at what's going on with Israel and Palestine today, I mean, it seems like Hamas is purposely trying to get civilians killed to make Israel look bad. So it's definitely like a different form of, I think war has evolved in a way where not only are they people dressing up like civilians, but in certain cases they're actively trying to get civilians killed just to make the other side look bad. So I think in war you are given, I mean, you're given a little bit more of a leeway, not too much of a leeway. You can't just go out and slaughter civilians, but you are given a little bit more of a leeway. Now, in this case, with Denny Visser was really the one thing that bothered me in this movie. He swore up and down that he did not kill Hunt. He didn't speak the same language as the Australians, and he had an interpreter there. An interpreter seemed like he wasn't too reliable to me. He seemed like he was not on the up and up, really, and he really seemed like he wanted to kill this guy. And it just felt to me like maybe Visser didn't actually kill Hunt. Maybe he did in the beginning of the movie, and I just didn't see it. I really thought maybe they should have brought him in instead of just executing him right there. That one kind of bothered me a little bit, to be perfectly honest. I don't think that these three men were completely innocent, even though they said they were just following orders. It is like their word against a lot of other people. And in a way, that being said, there were some instances where I do believe that they were a little railroaded in this court hearing as well. I thought that Major J. F. Thomas did a very good job in making you feel like that they were just following orders, or making you feel like there were times when they actually didn't break the law that they were said to be breaking. It's hard for me to explain, but there were certain objections that he had that for evidence that was not allowed to be put forward, or there were certain objections he had to actual things that would have proven that they weren't all bad, that were not objections that were allowed, because they said it was not relevant in the case. Even though I think that they were relevant in the case, it was obvious that some of it was relevant in the case, but they were being a little railroaded, and you could tell that the people at the top of the military brass were really trying to like make an example of these three men. They were really trying to, get these men convicted quickly and get them executed and kind of make an example of them. And they were really doing this in any way they could. So I don't think that these three guys were necessarily innocent completely, but I don't think that they necessarily deserved, at the end of the movie, all three of them basically are convicted of their crimes. Two of them are executed. One is given life in prison. The two that were executed, I don't necessarily think that was necessary, because I don't think that, they could have just spent the rest of their life in prison like the other one did. I don't think that they're going to continue to be an issue for the rest of their life. I don't think that they're going to continue to do more crimes. I think that maybe there's a rehabilitation thing that can happen here. And I think the one who did not get executed ended up getting released early. He didn't have to spend the rest of his life in prison. I think the same thing could have been done for these two other guys. But like I said, I think they were trying to make an example out of them. Now, with that review of the movie, I will say that I understand and I admit that maybe I didn't completely 100% understand this movie as much as I should have. I'm not like a historian of war. I'm not someone who even knew this war was a thing. So if I missed some stuff, if I got some stuff wrong, I apologize. This is just my view of what happened on the first viewing. This is my understanding of what happened in the movie. So like I said, if I got something wrong, I apologize. I do think that this is a very good, I'll say great courtroom drama, a military courtroom drama. The acting on all ends is great. Like I said, Jack Thompson was stellar in this movie. I'm surprised he wasn't nominated for an Oscar or something, because he was just so good in everything that he did. This movie is told through flashbacks, showing us what happened during the war scenes. I thought some of the flashbacks were a little bit confusing, but when they were inside the courtroom, everything that they were doing in the courtroom, I thought was fantastic. I thought really made this movie special and really made it unique, because I don't see a lot of great military courtroom movies like this. So I thought it was spectacular, and the fact that it's out of Australia, it's probably one of like the biggest movies ever out of Australia. I don't know exactly how true this movie was to reality, how accurate it was, but for what the movie is, it's really spectacular. The storytelling, I thought, for me, was a little bit hard to follow at times, but that's probably just a me thing. That's just a problem that I was having. But all in all, I thought the movie was really good, and I give it a 9 out of 10. I hope you join me next time when I review The King and the Mockingbird. Thank you. Have a great day.